In the dimly lit aisles of an old, abandoned supermarket, the air was heavy with an eerie silence. The shelves, once filled with neatly stacked products, now stood decrepit and covered in layers of dust. It was said that this supermarket had been closed down years ago due to a series of inexplicable events. One stormy night, a group of curious teenagers decided to explore the supermarket, seeking a thrill. As they stepped through the broken sliding doors, a chilling breeze greeted them, sending shivers down their spines. Unbeknownst to them, they had entered a realm of horror. As they ventured deeper into the supermarket, strange things began to happen. The flickering lights cast eerie shadows on the walls, seemingly moving on their own accord. The sound of distant whispers echoed through the empty aisles, making their hearts race with fear. In the frozen food section, they stumbled upon a freezer door that was slightly ajar. Curiosity getting the better of them, they cautiously pushed it open. A bone-chilling sight awaited them inside. Frozen bodies stacked like macabre sculptures, their eyes wide open in a frozen state of terror. Terrified, the group tried to run, but they found themselves trapped. The supermarket seemed to shift and change, turning into a labyrinth of aisles that twisted and turned, leading them further into the nightmare. The walls seemed to whisper their names, their voices growing louder and more menacing with each step. One by one, the teenagers began to disappear. Their terrified screams echoed through the supermarket, blending with the haunting melody of distant music that seemed to play from nowhere. The remaining few were left trembling, their minds gripped by an indescribable horror. As the night wore on, a shadowy figure emerged from the darkness. Cloaked in tattered rags, it moved with an unnatural grace. Its eyes glowed a piercing red, and its twisted smile revealed rows of sharp, jagged teeth. The group knew they had encountered the malevolent spirit that haunted the supermarket. In a final act of desperation, the remaining survivors made a daring escape attempt. They ran towards the exit, their hearts pounding in their chests. Just as they were about to reach the broken, sliding doors, the figure appeared before them, blocking their way. Its chilling laughter filled the air as it slowly advanced towards them. In a surge of courage, one of the survivors gathered their strength and shouted, "Leave us alone! This supermarket is your domain, but we will not be your victims!" Miraculously, the figure halted, its menacing grin fading. With a final, mournful wail, it vanished into thin air, leaving the survivors trembling in disbelief. As the first rays of dawn broke through the windows, the supermarket returned to its state of abandonment. The survivors, shaken but grateful, vowed to never speak of their harrowing experience. From that day forward, the supermarket remained a haunting reminder of the darkness that lurks within us all. In the small town of Greenwood, nestled among the hills, stood an ordinary supermarket. However, beneath its seemingly mundane exterior lay a sinister secret. Late at night, when the moon hung low in the sky, the supermarket transformed into a realm of terror. One fateful evening, an unsuspecting employee named Sarah was assigned the graveyard shift. As the clock struck midnight, she found herself alone, surrounded by towering shelves and flickering fluorescent lights. The silence was deafening, broken only by the hum of the refrigerators and the occasional creak of the floors. As Sarah walked down the dimly lit aisles, a feeling of unease crept over her. The products seemed to watch her with their lifeless eyes, their labels distorted and twisted. The air grew heavy with a foul stench, a mix of rotten produce and decay. A cold breeze brushed against Sarah's neck, causing her to shiver. She turned around, expecting to see a drafty vent, but instead she caught a glimpse of a shadowy figure disappearing around the corner. Fear consumed her, but duty compelled her to investigate. Following the figure, Sarah found herself in the storage room. The shelves were stacked high with boxes, creating a maze-like labyrinth. The figure seemed to vanish among the rows, playing a haunting game of hide-and-seek. Sarah's heart raced as she ventured deeper into the maze, her steps echoing through the empty space. Suddenly, the lights flickered and died, plunging the room into darkness. Panic gripped Sarah as she fumbled for her flashlight. Its feeble beam illuminated a horrifying sight. Grotesque creatures, half-human and half-monster, lurking between the boxes. Their twisted forms moved with unnatural agility, their eyes gleaming with malevolence. Sarah's screams echoed through the supermarket, but they were met with silence. The creatures closed in on her, their grotesque faces contorted into sinister smiles. With each step, their gnarled hands reached out, their claws grazing the air. Just as Sarah was about to succumb to her terrifying fate, the emergency lights flickered back to life. The creatures recoiled, hissing in anger. Sarah took her chance and sprinted toward the exit, her heart pounding in her chest. As she burst through the supermarket doors, gasping for air, she looked back one last time. The supermarket stood innocently, its lights glowing as if nothing had happened. Sarah knew she had narrowly escaped a nightmare that would haunt her forever. From that day forward, rumors spread about the haunted supermarket, warning people to stay away after dark. The townsfolk whispered tales of the supernatural, recounting encounters with the monstrous beings that lurked within its walls. The supermarket remained a chilling reminder that even in the most ordinary places, unimaginable horrors could lurk. And those who dared to venture into its aisles would forever be haunted by the memory of the nightmarish creatures that called it home. In the quiet suburbs of Oakville, there was a supermarket that appeared normal during the day. However, as the sun set and darkness enveloped the town, a twisted presence awakened within its walls. One stormy night, a young couple named Emma and Mark found themselves in need of groceries. Unaware of the sinister reputation that the supermarket had earned, they ventured inside, their footsteps echoing on the tiled floor. As they roamed the aisles, they couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched. The shelves seemed to shift and rearrange themselves as they passed, causing a deep sense of unease to settle in their hearts. Strange whispers floated in the air, just low enough to be perceived but unclear in their meaning. In the meat department, Emma picked up a package of ground beef. To her horror, she noticed that the meat squirmed and writhed as if alive. She dropped it instinctively, her fingers trembling. Mark, trying to dismiss her fears, reassured her that it must have been a trick of the light. As they made their way to the checkout counter, the cashier's eyes met Emma's with an unsettling intensity. A crooked smile formed on the cashier's face, revealing rows of jagged teeth. Emma's blood ran cold and she pulled Mark closer, urging him to hurry. Just as they were about to leave, the supermarket's intercom crackled to life. A distorted voice filled the store, announcing a sinister game. Welcome to your worst nightmare. Find the way out, or become part of the supermarket forever. Panic surged through Emma and Mark as the supermarket's entrance vanished before their eyes. The walls closed in, aisles twisting and stretching like a maze. The once familiar aisles now became a labyrinth of horror, leading them deeper into the nightmare. Whispers grew louder, filling their ears with malevolent intent. Shelves toppled over, spilling their contents onto the floor. Grotesque figures emerged from the chaos, their twisted bodies contorted in ways that defied reality. They reached out with skeletal hands, their fingers sharp and bony. Emma and Mark ran for their lives, desperately searching for an exit that seemed to elude them. Each corner they turned led to another dead end, trapping them further in the supermarket's clutches. Their screams for help went unanswered, drowned out by the cacophony of their pursuers. Exhausted and terrified, Emma and Mark stumbled upon a hidden cellar door. With no other options left, they descended into the darkness below. The air grew thick and suffocating, carrying the stench of decay. They found themselves surrounded by cages, each filled with emaciated figures, their eyes vacant and hollow. As they made their way through the cellar, they discovered a rusted key in a pool of blood. It felt warm to the touch, pulsating with a malevolent energy. Instinctively, they knew it was the key to their escape, their only hope of survival. With trembling hands, They unlocked a heavy metal door at the far end of the cellar. As they pushed it open, blinding sunlight flooded their vision, and they stumbled out into the street, gasping for air. The supermarket vanished behind them, leaving no trace of the nightmare they had endured. Emma and Mark vowed never to speak of their horrifying experience, fearing that the supermarket's dark presence would find them again. To this day, they can't enter a supermarket without a lingering sense of unease, haunted by the disturbing memories of the supermarket horror that forever changed their lives.